This little hobo has a lot of nerve, but he's a good reminder to all of us that hobos get old too. Hobos, this is the worst hobo. Like hobosexual. Gary, who never stopped crying about his dead wife, even though he met his girlfriend at her funeral. Thank you guys. Now, Gary has written a memoir. Where he complains about Teresa not wanting to bone him and her being a calculated little burr. Oh my God. Let me remind you, this man is the perfect example of how much men lie, how entitled they are, how angry they are, and especially the nice guy. Like, Gary is like a mixture of like hobosexual and nice guy, but old. Now, I'm going to show you what all he's claiming, and then I'm going to remind you of the truth and also her response to all this. Now, I don't usually watch. This is the only Bachelor that I ever watched. And I couldn't stand this guy, especially when we found out that he was lying about pretty much everything. But he is on a little, tour with his memoir. He wanted to clear the record. Do not buy any of this, okay? Don't buy any of this. Let's take a look. And this is like hobosexual bingo, okay? I'm gonna show a bunch of red flags, okay? So I don't care about this dude. I don't. It's not about him. This is about what happens to so many women. Don't fall for it. If men will lie this much about something or a few different things, they'll lie about anything. Now, of course, they love to frame him as a widower. I mean, that is like his whole shtick. He's a poor widower, right? Widower, father, grandfather. Oh, surely grandpa would never fork over a woman. Wrong! Now, he says the motivation for the book came from frustration of not being able to tell the whole story about myself and my feelings. Actually, before I get into this anymore, let me just be clear. Teresa seemed like a pick-me. Now, who isn't a pick-me? I'm a pick-me, you're a pick-me, we're all pick-me's, right? If you're raised under patriarchy, you got a little in there, or a whole lot. Because we literally that's how we're conditioned, okay? But she's got a lot. So she's not perfect, okay? I don't know. I don't care. But what I do know is she had money. She had standards. And this little hobo, this guy is seriously, he is the classic example of like, a man who is a people pleaser is so dangerous. So dangerous. I know like women are known as being people pleasers a lot of times for various reasons. Some of them are valid, right? Like a lot of times we have to like people please to survive. But a lot of times it's like, like whatever. I didn't realize how much I manipulated people with like my fear of intimacy and stuff. And so whatever. It's self-abandonment, blah, 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 blah. That's not what this is about. But I'm not, I got some red flags about her too. But this guy is this guy is like an example of what women are dealing with right now at all ages, okay? Like it kind of makes sense that he's this way, but not even really, because I thought y'all were of like the whole traditional kind of crap, right? 50-50 all table conversation. I thought that it was just like younger, radicalized online men are talking about that. No, Gary's doing it too. Anyway, she seems like a bit of a product of her time in many ways. And just, more on the pick-me spectrum than, a lot of women. So, but let's get into Gary and all his red flags and all his lies. But just for the motivation, it definitely was because he wanted to be honest and about his feelings. Not because he wants to stay in the spotlight to remain relevant and make a ton of money. Don't buy this book. Just watch this video. You don't need to buy this book. First red flag I had never heard of was that his late wife never told her about his health diagnosis. That sounds like a real healthy relationship, bro. Like, remember, I tell you all the time that a lot of times when the wife dies first, I'm always going to be side-eyeing that man. All right? I had a grandma who died before my grandpa. He abused her. He wouldn't let her have a divorce. I literally know women who have died before their husband. And it wasn't like, oh, poor widower, he loved her so much. That man stressed her out to the point of you can only handle so much stress. Women die. Even if a man's not like doing this, his stress, his emotional abuse, his ignoring you, his coldness, his expecting you to do all this free endless labor all the time. That's exhausting. Have you seen glow ups? We know women live shorter lives when they're married to men in general, unless that man is not doing what most men do. So this wife of 43 years didn't tell him she was sick? What the hell kind of marriage is that? After her death, he found out that she had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. She never mentioned this big diagnosis to me, and as far as I could tell, she never followed through with treatment. He was traumatized, I love how they put that in quotes, by discovering his late wife diabetes diagnosis, which she had not only hidden, but apparently completely ignored. Are you sure about that, Gary? Are you sure? Because I have a theory that you are so forking stressful to live with and be around because you're a compulsive liar, maybe, that maybe she didn't want to bother you with it. Do you know how often, and just the default for women in marriages with exhausting men is that they don't take care of themselves. They don't tell you how their feelings. They don't tell you what's going on because everything's about you. You're the sun, and her and the kids are a little planet that orbit around you, right? Because if you were truly a partner and like a best friends, an equal partner, shared the labor, why the hell would she not mention to you she was sick? My guess is, which is what's very common, this is just speculation. But Gary's the one who put this information out here, okay? He opened us up to speculate. My guess would be that her needs, her health, her whatever, fill in the blank, came second because you seem like an entitled, angry prick who thinks he's the king baby and everyone else is just, a backup singer, a sidekick, something else, a producer of your little stage, your little drama of life, but you get all the credit. In his dating life after her death, it's that pushed him to want to look for a woman who valued health, fitness, and going to the doctor. Really, Gary? Is that why you broke up with that woman? Because she gained weight? More on that in a second. Moses joined us. He does confirm that he met an ex at his wife's funeral. This alone is a reason to not be able to stand this man. How could you be with someone for 43 years? They died pretty suddenly, and the body is in the casket with it still open, and you're hitting on somebody. There's no way that's a super healthy marriage, and you're a super healthy person. If you can't stay single for a few days, God! When I tell you so many men just view women as replaceable, you're just replaceable. They'll either celebrate your funeral like my grandpa did to my grandma, king on the mountain now, or they're so lazy and don't want to take care of themselves and refuse to do all that work you did for them that they just die. They either move on real quick or die because they're lazy and refuse to do any of the stuff that you did for them. Or a few of them actually are like, maybe I need to grow the fork up at 84 and then, figure their life out because they don't have someone taking care of them. But that's rare. Now, remember, on the show, he was all about that storyline that he hadn't had a serious relationship since his wife's death. Hell, he hadn't even kissed anybody. Not true. Carolyn tells another story, but we'll get to that in a minute. But he did dump her for gaining weight. Oh, is it because you're afraid she's gonna die like your wife? Or are you a vain, entitled, mean prick? Look at this. There were many untruths. Why don't you just say lie? I feel like men will do anything but say the thing that I won't take time or energy to refute. Okay, because they're true, I'm sure. Oh, you don't have the time or energy, but you wrote a whole memoir. Okay. You just don't know how to refute them because it's all... The Hollywood Reporter did excellent reporting. Okay, I'm going to go over it in a minute. Excellent reporting. They looked at text messages from this dude. They talked to ex-employees, fellow employees. They talked to friends of the people, the women that he was dating. They talked to everybody. And he's like, I'm not going to get time to refute these untruths, even though I wrote a whole ass book. Okay. He did add that the Hollywood Reporter did get that detail right. He did meet her at his wife's funeral. He says, look at this. We had a connection, but I pursued the relationship far too quickly. Yeah. She's not even in the ground. That's a little quick. And asked the woman to move in with me before we really had a chance to get to know one another. Sounds like you have a history of this. It sounds like you're not really interested, because I'm going to show you what Teresa said. Sounds like you're really not all that interested in the woman as a human being, as a friend, as a partner, a teammate. And rather, you just need a woman in your life all the time. You already have all these daughters, right? You already got a bunch of women who probably wait on you if you are a demanding king baby like a lot of dads. But maybe they don't. Whatever. I don't know. But this guy can't be single. He's already with another woman. He got diagnosed with cancer in December 2024. Boom! He's already with someone. Like, this man cannot be alone. He wants a hospice wife. He wants a nurse. He wants a purse. He's a little hobo. But he's like, God, just the audacity of this man makes me so mad. But you know what? This man is every man. Not every man, but you know what I'm saying. He says that him and Carolyn, who we're going to hear Carolyn's story in a minute, because it's been a while. Maybe you have not seen that video from 2 years, that they were not compatible. This man screwed that woman over so bad. I definitely could have been more generous, but I wasn't far along enough in my grief to bridge those differences and not generous. How about this man made her give him money and put it under like beforehand, or like slide him money, and then he would pay for the whole bill so he could be a big boy and take credit for being the man and paying, and she's secretly paying him. Just for an example, the way this is what these men do, I swear to God. Don't date sad men, all right? I had a whole song about that. The sad man, don't like men who divorced dads, widows, is it widower? I don't know, whatever, the one with the man. Any of these men who have like a really sad story, I promise you there's probably like 10 women who are already helping that man, that are coming making him dinners. The daughters, the sisters, the friends, the church ladies, the co-workers. If the mom is still alive, they come out of the woodwork to help these poor little boys who can't take care of themselves. And these men eat it up. They weaponize everything, including not just their incompetence. They weaponize their grief. Look at this happy little couple. Again, like, she's got her own issues, but this guy has got so much audacity. Claims that Teresa was calculated and rehearsed. She might be, but so are you, bro. He thought that she was of her as innocently trying to be a good companion, manipulated by others to overshare. Naturally talkative, she can put words together. Turns out I'm the one easy to manipulate. That bitch is the mastermind, a puppeteer. As he watched episodes, he found that his opinion of her changed. All the women you screwed over and lied about before going on this show, that changed when they watched you lie to America's face. As he watched her on the screen, he thought she was unable to read the room. Okay. And while their conversations were breezy, something about her answers felt rehearsed. I'm telling you, men project so much. Now, you know what? I wasn't a big fan of her. I thought she was kind of like a little too pick-me-ish. She seemed, kind of boring. I don't know. This was my favorite. She was so funny. I did a whole video on her, I think. This was so long ago. I can't believe I watched this whole thing. Love is Blind is usually the only show I watch. Oh my God, what's her name? Sandra. I'm just blanking. I just looked this up. Sandra? Anyway, hilarious. She was my favorite. But the other women who made it to the finalists, I kind of was like, Teresa to me, and then he found out she had money. And then he changed his mind. He thought that her response to questions felt calculated. Calculated like your tears. Every time you needed us to like you, you cried about your dead wife. And it blocked him from getting to know the real her. Oh, you mean the bitch that you think she is now, that you're telling everybody about in this book? She was difficult off camera. I'm not saying she wasn't. Come on. I know women. We can be difficult, especially with each other. We can be awful to each other. There's something I love as a girl's girl, all right? And what I hate about this show was that none of these women had a reason to get married, all right? What do you want? You want to have, right out of the gate, I was annoyed with the premise. Why the hell would these women marry this man? Because we know that they're going to have to take care of him. There is no advantage to get married this late in life unless that man is really healthy, not just physically, but more important, emotionally. Otherwise, it's probably a big risk because most men are going to exploit your labor. And it's to the point where caretaking literally kills women. Whoever caretakes oftentimes dies before the person they're caretaking. All right, I saw this happen in my family when my dad had Alzheimer's. I literally thought that caretaking him was going to kill one of my relatives, and I had to have like an intervention. I was so concerned. It is a big job. So the premise of this show is ridiculous for women at this age. Like, you know what? Date. Just don't get married. No, there's always exceptions, okay? Always exceptions. It's like offensive because these women, older women, have really active lives. They usually have grandchildren. If they never had their own kids, they're usually an aunt, or they like, women are always in the community. They're always taking care of their friends. They are taking care of grandkids. They're involved in, all these activities. And what do men do when they're old? Watch TV. Maybe play golf, but they don't do anything compared to what women are doing. So women don't need a burden. Her tone and delivery were the same whether she was talking about a problem at work or picking up her morning smoothie. God. She came off as almost mechanical. So this is a man who has lied through his teeth about so many things, and this is what he's telling us about her. Remember I tell you, men project. Whatever that... I'm not saying way, but a man this untrustworthy because of his record of lying and manipulating with his tears and his he wants everyone to think he's like the nice guy. Men like this, every time they accuse you of something or someone, like this is a smear campaign. This could seem like I hate using the word narcissist. This is like a smear campaign, and he wants to sell books, and he wants revenge for that Hollywood Reporter article that had nothing to do with Teresa. She wasn't behind that. That was his past catching up with him. He chose to go on a dating show and lie about his job, his dating life before, and thought nobody'd say a word. They just let him lie. That's some audacity. And I think he did all this to, recover his brand, his image, but he's throwing her under the bus because she's God! It's about how they went through generic, mundane questions. There's no way around it. Our calls were awkward. Boring. Finally got to spend time in person and weekend in a penthouse overlooking Central Park. Look at this. Things went sideways when she was in charge of the shopping list. And get this, filled the fridge with salmon, salad, greens, and egg. The audacity. It had never occurred to me that there wouldn't be what I call food, otherwise known as carbohydrates of any kind. This is the same man who fat shamed, I don't know if that's the right word. She was like, she'd gained 10 pounds, shamed his ex who he'd been dating for 3 years because she gained 10 pounds. And, he doesn't want anyone to have to die and beat him and everything. He loves his good health. She has all this healthy food. And he's like, what about the carbs? This guy is just, he felt like she misrepresented herself. Kind of like you, Gary. Originally, so Teresa he lives in Indiana, and she lives in New Jersey. And this is what I'm telling you, do not move for men, especially men you just met. They both decided to move to Charleston, South Carolina, some sort of compromise. She later told him that she couldn't quit her job yet, as she still had to have retirement. Sounds like a smart woman. I was a little resentful of her because of her economic situation. It wasn't at all what she described on the show. I thought this bitch had money. I thought she was set. What do you mean you gotta work? It made me to wonder what else I had misunderstood or what she had meant. If she lies about one thing, what else will she lie about? Who does this sound like? I'm telling you, everything's a confession. He was further unnerved and taken aback when she told him, if you pay all my expenses, I'd quit right now. Good for you, Teresa. He's like bugging her, come on, quit your job. She's like, okay, then pay me to hang out with you instead of have my career that she probably likes. And he's just like, this bitch wants me to pay? He's disillusioned. The lack of team spirit. I want a 50-50 gal. It's all that free labor she does. I don't care about that. I'm going to split it right down the middle. And if she's got more, I want that. And expecting him to shoulder the burden of expense. No, she's trying to compromise because you want her to quit her job. He did the classic, like, she's a bridezilla too, if you didn't know that. She took over the plans for their wedding, controlling and not letting him make any decisions. She also blew off his request for her to model the wedding lingerie. Hello, have you ever heard of the word anticipation? Gary! Look at this sweet baby. So what does he do? He accused her of being way too interested in the trappings of marriage than whom she was marrying or what their married life is going to be like. It sounds like you, Gary, did not ask enough questions. I think y'all didn't really talk about much. She just seemed like a pretty sweet gal, and you're like, oh, cool, this bitch is going to be easy to, like, push over. And she's got money! And then you come to find out she is a human being and has thoughts and feelings and opinions and a will of her own. He's complaining that she wanted a $5 million house. The more we talked, the more problems seemed to arise. I was looking for a $1 million house. And this, presents this Mint wanted a $4 to $5 million one. Yeah, because she makes good money, bro. Her assumption about the kind of house we were looking for was hugely different from mine. Had Teresa come to expect the kind of lifestyle we'd had, the production company was footing the bill for? Like, no! She has money. My understanding is that she has money. Her daughter was concerned, like, I'm not going back and watching this whole thing. I just remember I was like, is that he was going to go with that other woman, Leslie or something. I forget her name. And as soon as he found out she's got money, all of a sudden he just became real interested in her. Maybe you didn't ask her enough. And then look at this. Now, her story of this is very interesting. I'll show you in a minute. He had serious doubts before the wedding. I had a major case of the bah humbugs. Oh, God, what does that look like? Who are you, moody, stick in the mud kind of man? Oh, we love those. Passive aggressive, maybe? I kept it to myself because you're a liar. And I wonder why your wife didn't tell you she had diabetes. And as it got close to our wedding date, my doubts about Therese grew. He didn't tell his daughters, shocker, because he doesn't seem to talk to anyone about anything. Seems just like a liar and withholder, like lying through omission too. Because I did not want, I was thinking of them, okay? I did not want them coming down from the sky-high euphoria surrounding the golden black. Okay, he did it for his daughters, y'all. He didn't do it because he wanted, why would he say no? Of course he's going to go through the wedding. Because if he said no, then he's going to look like a dick. And that ruins his chances, like his whole brand, right? This whole reality show is about him finding a wife, this golden retriever, Gary, finding a sweet little woman, and them getting married. And they don't have to last very long, but they got to get married. Okay? You're a coward and you're a liar. You didn't want to get married to her. I'll show you other quotes that it was even worse than what they're saying here. And he just did it anyway. Best case scenario, he's a people pleaser. More likely, he's that also, but he's just selfish and he's a nice guy and he wanted what he wanted. He wanted brand deals. He wanted book deals. Do you know how hard it is to get a book deal? I have tried to sell 4 book proposals that I could not sell. And anybody who's been following me a long time, I've had a crazy life and I've been storytelling and writing viral articles and doing this stuff for years. Okay, it's hard for me to get a book proposal. And this loser just goes on a show and sells a book. Why? Because he got married! And also, he didn't like her little uppity East Coast mentality. This man is so resentful that she has more money. He is so resentful. Oh my God. Look, wait till I tell you what her side of the story. Turner describes that as an assumption that it was a given that you would go to go only to the classiest restaurants, wear expensive clothes, hobnob with the richest and most influential people you could find at any given time, and live in the fanciest house you can afford. Do you exaggerate much or what, Gary? Teresa doesn't sound like this. She sounds like she lives in a different socioeconomic status as you. She has money. She likes likes this lifestyle. And you sound like so jealous. Oh my God. He said that the phrase East Coast mentality became code for the signs of incompatibility that were getting larger with each passing day. Oh, whatever. Now, there's something with the prenup I don't really understand. He's all talking about how she was shady about this prenup. I don't believe this. And I thought I remember reading differently about this. Either way, there is no way that this man was trying to protect his bag. She's the one with money, not him. He confided in Faith Martin, a fellow Golden Bachelor contestant he'd since become friends with. Going through this with this wedding is the wrong thing to do. I'm completely trapped, he recalled telling. Oh, he says more. I'll show you. And apparently she told him to tell her, and he never did. This man's just a liar. Now, this is the part that really pisses me off. You know why he's mad? Because she didn't do her conjugal duties. That's what he's talking about here. Turner said that he wouldn't blame anyone for calling him a phony when he exchanged vows, but I still committed to the sacred institution with all my heart, even though I hated the bitch. We weren't getting along. We're not compatible, but I committed to the institution of marriage with all my heart. What are you talking about? Oh my God. After the wedding, he went to his new wife's home to spend time with her. And she asked him to sleep on the sofa. See, he lied about this too. I'm going to show you in a minute. Physical intimacy wasn't going to bond Teresa and me either. You know, she's a cold man. She's calculated. And then she wouldn't even give me her body. The one thing that would really bond us. Because it definitely is not about seduction and like forking her brain and making her feel safe and connected. You want her after all this fighting, after like you clearly didn't want to get married and all these arguments, and you show up and you're like, you want fuck? And you're like, why didn't you want that? And she said, this is a lie, by the way. I'll show you. He recalled that she told him, tomorrow's a big work day. I need a good night's sleep. Do you mind sleeping on the sofa? Yeah, no problem were the words that came out of my mouth. But I remember thinking, why? We're married. You have to let me do this. We're married. There's a whole nother conversation around how much men still assume that once you're married, your body is there. They try to grape you in your sleep. They, manipulate you with bad moods, with withholding all kinds of stuff. The way so many men think like this, and this man is admitting it right here. We're married. Why wouldn't we for? Even though we've actually only known each other for a really short period of time, and she's kind of old school. You know, she's older too. Why the hell won't this bitch bark me? Especially if they already have done it. Now you got, what's wrong with you, little prude? I didn't want to make waves, especially on my first night in her home, which again, she said he slept in her bed. Oh, God. The non-confrontational route, the way of peace that I, Gary, always do, turned out to be a mistake because one night on her couch turned into 2, then 3, and the bitch didn't ever want to touch me. This way of peace and non-confrontation, God, I guess I chose the wrong way. First of all, lying about this. Second of all, this man literally thinks that she should just want to fork him, whether she's in the mood or not, no matter how long he drove those 14 hours, because they're married and that's it. That's it. Her behavior was very different from the version that I encountered on the show. At the resort, her behavior regarding intimacy was comfortable, even forward. So why is this bitch not putting out now? Maybe because she got to know your personality more and it's like, ugh. But after their marriage, she ignored opportunities for intimacy. Opportunities or begging or pressure or guilt trips or any of that stuff. Conjugal duties. Gary! He added, I had a really hard time making sense of it. The rejection I got from Teresa rattled me deeply and stayed with me for a long time. In fact, he later talks about how he wanted to take his own life because of all this. That's another classic thing that manipulative, abusive men do. And I'm not saying he was abusive and physically at least, but this man is a compulsive liar. This is a form of abuse. Lying all the time, that manipulation. Anyway, whatever. I'll get to all that more. He dealt with... Turner said that sleeping on the couch made him a little bitter. Understatement of the century. How much you want to bet this man was so enraged that this stupid bitch wife of his would not put out like he was promised. One night while driving to dinner, I went 5 miles over the speed limit, and you would have thought I had a gun to this bitch's head the way she reacted. First of all, I doubt it was 5 miles over. Apparently she got upset that he was speeding. How much you want to bet? The same way men will be like, I just had 2 beers. When they really had 2 beers this big, or whatever. 5 miles. How much you want to bet it was like 25? And he's like, oh, God, dramatic. I told you men abuse you by driving bad. Remember that? I've been trying to record this video for 3 weeks now. I'm back. I'm determined to do this. How telling, y'all. You know how much I talk about how men abuse you with their cars, right? Or they just scare you unnecessarily with their cars. And at the very least, if they're not doing it intentionally, men are just reckless. They are reckless, and they don't think or care about the impact of their bad driving, reckless driving, hence why their insurance is more driving, how that impacts us. How a lot of us have actually been abused by men in their cars, right? I've done so many videos of it. It's been a while. Let me know if you want me to talk about that again. I have so much. There's very few men that I will let drive me anywhere. Anthony's one, maybe one of the only ones. I do not trust men with cars. So many of us, as children or as friends or as spouses or as girlfriends of these men, as daughters of these men, have so much car trauma. So I'm sorry, Gary, if she doesn't just, if you drove a little recklessly and she reacted like she had a gun in her head. God, I hate this man. Another night when the former couple was getting ready to go out, Teresa looked at me and pointed up and down like a kindergarten teacher and told him to change outfits because you're not wearing that. Aw, the woman that you probably make into your mommy did a mommy move and was, you know what, honestly, you are such a, God, he probably only reason why he didn't look really awful on the Golden Bachelor is because they were styling him, right? They had a whole production. Just take the lesson, bro. Men dress so bad a lot of times. You know, when women get single, they glow up because they don't have all the time and energy and stress of being with a man, including being their costume designer. Whereas when men are single, they end up just looking like a mess. And a lot of them don't learn how to take care of themselves or have any style until they're with the right woman. But I wondered why I had driven 14 hours to sleep alone on the couch and have my wardrobe criticized. Well, if you don't want your wardrobe, I mean, again, if this guy, if I didn't know all the other stuff about this guy, I might be willing to reserve some sort of benefit of the doubt for him, right? Because, you know, that there are women who are really hard on men and maybe are like, whatever. I get it. Okay? I know I have known some crazy bitches, right? But with all this context, you will never convince me that he didn't look really awful. Or, you know, just whatever. He tried to marry up into someone who came from more wealth or had made more wealth for herself. I don't know which one it is. And then he's bitching about having to look good. He's bitching about everything that comes with having a woman who has money. He recalled feeling a near constant low hum of conflict as we continued to confront our differences in schedules, eating habits, and plans to see each other. Well, maybe you should have talked about that while you were, instead of crying. God, he probably just cried all the time. What did y'all talk about? This is why I hate these dating shows so much. This is why, Love is Blind. I mean, we do not see so much of that footage, like 95 or 98% of that footage, because they are recording all day, every day. So, and as somebody who worked in film, right, and actually was oh my gosh, he's snoring. Look, I love that he can just snore and sleep while I'm literally yelling at y'all. Not at y'all, but about this. I decorated the set of Who Wants to Work with Diddy. Can you believe that? And I worked as a PA after I was a set decorator. And then I worked one day as a PA, and I was like, nope, not interested in this. I was just trying to find work. Little did I know. A lot of my friends do casting. One of them does casting for reality. I know a lot about reality TV, okay? And I was also on a National Geographic reality show for the Adventurous Woman episode. And seeing how they handled all that, I was like, yeah, no thanks. So I know we do not see a lot. I am very well aware of that. In fact, I go on here to tell y'all that we don't see all of it, but we're forming our opinions on based on what we do see. And I'm sorry, but that Hollywood Reporter thing where that exposed this man as a janitor who's lying, who's been dating. He was never seemed to grieve his wife. He just kept moving on dating and is so cheap and was so off. Yeah. What was my point? My point was, what are y'all talking about? Because I know a lot is edited, but did you bother seeing if y'all are even compatible? Because I really think this man married her for her money. And then he's like surprised that she has a high standard in how he looks, wants a bigger house, and doesn't even want to stop working. An horribly awkward goodbye. We shared a horribly awkward goodbye at the airport. He wrote, the light kiss on the cheek and the gentle hug we exchanged had all the warmth of meeting between distant cousins. Ew. Can you hear that? Oh, I wish you. Anyway, Turner said he felt relieved their planned week together in person was over. In the weeks that followed, I was uncomfortable remembering the vows I had spoken at our wedding. Oh, the vows that you knew you shouldn't take, but you didn't want to put your daughters through that? You didn't even think of this woman. That is what's so maddening, is he didn't even think about the impact on her and her family, her daughter, or I forget how many kids she had, about him saying yes when he knew he should have said no. Even his friends were like, man, don't do it. And now he's just like, poor me, the consequences of my actions. Finally, the former couple talked and agreed that they had acted in haste in getting married, he said. Well, fine. But you know what? If you'd had that conversation with her a lot earlier, you could have saved yourself a lot of trouble. And then this is the thing that pisses me off. This man is a hobosexual in so many ways, and even now, even still. Because what is he doing? He wrote a whole memoir about this to drag this woman because nobody cares about him anymore. He's a, reality star who had the spotlight. We talked about him for what, a few months? And now we don't give a fork. And he's like, I know, I'll write a whole memoir to talk trash about this woman, to get me back into the spotlight, get me some, get some more form of income, because I don't want to be a janitor. And here we go. Here's the unaliving thoughts. The backlash to their breakup announcement left her in a very dark place and feeling like a failure. Maybe you should have owned that feeling. He felt like Nice put out a narrative in which she was a victim, and he was becoming more and more depressed. No. She didn't do that compared to that woman who dated you. Like, the Hollywood Reporter is why no one likes you. What you did to Teresa, I forget. What you did to her, we only side with her because your history made us. Friends invited him to social activities he used to like, such as dinner, bowling, and pickleball. Oh no, your beloved pickleball, the thing that you just wouldn't shut up about. Oh, she ruined that for you? Her narrative ruined that? Look, I'm not saying it's not hard to be. I am sure it is so hard to be a reality TV star. But especially when you don't think people are going to find out about your past. And then people rightfully are like, who the hell is this guy? Fork him. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't do pickleball anymore because I don't like myself. I feel bad. But instead of enthusiastically joining in like I would in the past, I would try to figure out who would be there and the reactions I could expect from them. If there would be a lot of comments about the rumors and press about, well, I don't know. That just sounds like the consequences of your action. Yeah. I mean, you kind of do have to go into hiding for a while when you make a fool of yourself by lying a lot and by inviting all of us into your dating life and using your dead wife to get us to like you. And then we find out that you, all these tears about her are all you are the one who plays the victim, bro. Even people who were nice made Turner want to say, please stop talking about it, he recalled. I was sick of talking about myself. I wanted to be invisible. Oh, now you want to be invisible. That's the thing. That he wants us to talk about him and him to be in the conversation again in his narrative. This is why he bought this book. Or not bought this book, wrote this book. I paid someone to write it, honestly. You can't have it both ways. If you're putting your life out there, including your lies, and then you're like, go away, I just want to be invisible. Now that we're like, wait, hold on, this doesn't add up. I don't like what you did. You see what I mean? This guy is like every man. Just as quickly, though, I thought of Jenny and Angie. I could never do that to my daughter. My feelings like that were more an expression of desire to disappear. Yeah, okay. See, that's the thing. I think he just said this to get sympathy, like he was homicidal, but it sounds like he just wanted to disappear, but he didn't want to die. He didn't want to, leave planet Earth. He just wants people to forget about this stuff. Because, are you kidding me? I don't know. I've had these thoughts before, but it never, not any time recently. But it never occurred to me to, do a whole thing about claiming that I was homicidal because I had a thought that was quickly followed by, but I can't do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like he is just saying all this. And the reason why I'm coming down so hard on him, I've said that, like I said, it's not that I don't take this topic seriously, but so many men use unaliving themselves as a way to manipulate the hell out of us, garner our sympathy, and get what they want. And it drives me crazy. Obviously, because then it makes people like other men who are seriously considering it, do you know what I mean? God, look at this. Then he's like, apparently she read a How to Win the Bachelor book on set. So? I mean, hell, I don't even care. Isn't every woman there trying to win on some level? You know, like Love is Blind is one thing because they all go there and they're like choosing a partner. And at this point, I'm not convinced that no one's going on that show without hoping to get something in terms of brand deals or like just everyone's going on that show for at least a little bit of fame. Some maybe for love. You would never sign up for that otherwise. So, but on The Bachelor, it's like all of these women competing for one man. I don't know. That's just, I don't care that she read that. His dark period eventually ended due to his friendship with other women on The Golden Bachelor. There we go. Women. Where are all your male friends, bro? Do you have any? Because it sounds like you rely heavily on your daughters and women for pretty much everything in your life. Maybe you go play pickleball with the guy, but then don't want to go because they may make fun of you for all this. Faith, Nancy, Susan, and Kathy. I'm starting to question y'all's judgment now. Those 4 ladies. They voiced in near unison a sense of betrayal. They understood it because they felt betrayed too. What? See, what are you talking about? I would love to hear what they have to say, but I actually don't care enough to go look it up. If you heard any interviews with them, like trashing Teresa or whatever, I forget her name, Nist, let me know. But this, I swear, the way men will triangulate which they may have, they could have been pick-me's who are like, yeah, she won, and they're still jealous. Or she could have been a royal bitch, and they're like, we don't really like her much. But he purposely mentioned these women so that they vouch for him, basically. That's why he put them in there. Men will always use women to legitimize their ridiculousness. They will always use their wives and their female friends and just all these women. So, because if a woman stands by a man as a friend or a wife, then the public is more likely to believe him. So that's what he's doing here. If I was one of them and even if I didn't like her tactics and didn't like her, I'd be pissed that he said this. Oh, and here we go. Now we got to learn about how he's sick. We shouldn't be mad at him. December 24th, he revealed that he was diagnosed with a slow-growing bone marrow cancer. After his cancer diagnosis, he notified NIST. She never called to see what was going on or how I was doing. To be that insignificant to someone I had married, albeit briefly, was very painful. She answered that too. More on that in a second. He couldn't stop questioning why she had participated in the show. Why did you participate in the show, Gary? Why did you? Same reason she did. Why did she enter a process that required such a leap of faith if she was going to be inflexible later? Why did you participate in a show that had you meet a lot of women, have all these choices? You got to choose. And then you chose, and then you're like, actually, I don't want to. And you did it anyway. Why did you get married? Like, the way men gaslight you. He's trying to gaslight. She's so inflexible. She's even though I always knew we shouldn't get married. But anyway, she's and then he throws this in again. Contestants told him that she was reading the book, How to Win the Bachelor. I wouldn't be surprised if all of them were reading that book. It's a game! It's a game! There was something about the image of Teresa curled up in one of those couches planning her strategy, that manipulative, conniving little bitch, like all those women are, to win a rose. That made me sick to my stomach. You know what makes me sick to my stomach? All your stupid tears about your wife to manipulate us. It made me think her, and the way you actually treated those other women, the way he chose Teresa over the other one was really cruel. He led that, I forget her name, I think she was the one with the horse. He led her on until the very last minute. In fact, he changed his mind at the last minute because they talked about money, I think, because that's what they were talking about. And she also didn't want to leave her horse and all that stuff. Shout out to the horse people, horse women out there. It made me think that her goal was never to find the next level of her life. It was to win. The other women felt betrayed because they felt like Teresa had cheated them out of a chance to find love. How? Because she read a book? After learning more about her from other women, Turner felt gullible. He's such a victim, y'all. What a victim. I couldn't believe I made such a stupid mistake. This is the only thing he's going to take ownership of, being stupid and gullible. Okay. Now let's see how she responded to some of this. She shared some tea, and I'm glad she did. She's like, okay, this guy's going to write a whole book. I'm going to drop a few little anecdotes about this dude. When she went to visit him in Indiana, he made a gruesome joke about her. I finally went to his house, and we took a walk around this lake called Pretty Lake. We were coming to the end of it, and he said, this is really bizarre. He said, you see that shed up there? Yeah. Well, that's where I'm going to hide your body after I kill you and chop you up. Who makes that joke? Who makes that joke? Who makes that joke? Like, it's so specific. I mean, it's like, whatever. If he'd just been like, oh my God, you're getting my nerves, I'm going to murder you. Still, I'd be like, don't joke about murdering women. But see that shed? See the one with the red roof and the big pitchfork outside of it? Yeah. I'm going to chop you up. And then I'm going to put you in a wood chucker thingy. And then I'm going to, pull all your hair out, and I'm going to make a sweater. And then I'm going to put a mask of your face on my face like that guy, what's his butt, who did all that with the crazy Norman, what's his butt. And then, isn't that funny? I'm sorry, but if I'm hiking around in kind of out that woody area on someone's property and they made that joke, I would be terrified. There's a whole TikTok trend on that. God. And he wasn't laughing, she noticed. I said, well, if this is his idea of a joke, that was pretty dark humor. Yeah. Remember I told y'all, men do not joke. When men joke, they are often confessing, or they're punching down, or they're saying something from their subconscious, or they're projecting something, but never take men's jokes lightly. They're always saying something. Now, did he actually want to murder her and chop her up and hide her body in that shed? Probably not. But there's resentment behind that joke. And that's the important part. There's resentment. There's quiet rage behind that joke. Clearly. He spent you know how long it takes to write a book? Now, maybe not this guy. He probably paid someone to do it. But it's someone who has written book proposals, multiple book proposals that didn't sell, and it wrote the first draft of the book. It takes so long. And this man wanted to make money and is so resentful because he's a little hobo and he wants to set the record straight. So I'm sorry, I believe that there was a lot of resentment behind that joke. She had every right to be scared. That plus the driving, plus the pressure to flirt. While she acknowledged that she didn't think he would ever try to really unalive her, his words still had weight to them. I just felt like there was animosity. Exactly. In that statement that was underlying. Exactly. That is why, please, if you learn nothing else from this whole video, If a man whether he's a friend or your lover or whatever, if he's making jokes like this, he hates you. He kind of hates you. He is so resentful, and that is dangerous. Like, maybe if he could have gotten rid of me somehow, I don't think he would have killed me. It just spoke of an underlying feeling about me. She also spoke to this part. Now, mind you, she did not write a whole book. She's got better stuff to do. Make money. Now, he's trying to make money, but he's doing it the way men do, is to exploit a woman making money. She's probably making money, trying to enjoy her grandkids, enjoy her final, imagine being this old and having to deal with this kind of high school level drama. At least our grandmas didn't have a choice and they had to deal with this. But imagine being successful and all this stuff. And then you're like, oh my God, it's just as bad at this age. God, Like, I love that she's at least, I love that she is, just can't, like, don't give this man too much. Don't let him think you're upsetting him. But she did want to set a couple things straight. Should have called off the wedding. Like, you did me no favors by marrying a woman that you did not want to marry. Exactly. You should have called off the wedding. No matter that we were on TV, that didn't matter. This was our lives. You should have stopped it. That's it. That's it. Like, he just spent all those words blaming her for doing something that he knew he shouldn't do. And she's like, I don't get it. You should have called off the wedding. Duh. In the golden years, what I've learned from Love, Loss, and Reality TV, this is the name of his dumb book, which it sells out. Turner revealed that he confided in Faith Martin, who placed third on his season the night before the wedding. Okay, cool. You talked to Faith about it. Always leaning on women for advice. Where are your guy friends? Right, men don't have those. He recalled Martin asking, if you know in your heart this isn't right, why are you going forward with it? But he married Nis the next day nonetheless, because why would he not? Why would he not? This was his whole future, was selling us this BS love story. But he did it for his daughters, right? I wish I had listened to Martin's wise and sincere advice, but my need to please everyone ingrained in me from childhood was too strong. Okay. So here's the thing. When, look, as a former people pleaser and, has a lot of codependency, and I work really hard to have worked and continue to work hard not to do that anymore. This is BS. You did this for us? You did this for us? For your daughters? For all of us out in the audience? You did this for us. You're trying to please us. Here's the thing. Women who are people pleasers are usually because, I'm not saying that men can't be people pleasers because of trauma too, but a lot of times because of patriarchy and violence and the violence of men. We do this to survive. And then also, like, I'll speak for white women because the way it shows up for us is very different. It is not life and death a lot of times when it comes to other women. And if you know what I'm talking about, White Woman Whisperer talks about this. She is the first one who made me realize that black women, when they have to people please, a lot of times is to survive us, especially in hospitals and stuff. It's not really people pleasing. It is literally like playing the game so they don't die. Whereas a lot of white women, and we people please, to, for all kinds of reasons, because that's how we operate within whiteness. And, God, but so when it comes to like other women and stuff, but when it comes to men, a lot of times we're doing this stuff because we've been conditioned to it, because we've been default to them, because we don't trust ourselves, because of all the things I've taught, and also to not die at the hands of them. So for him to come on and be like, I'm a people pleaser today. So I know men who are people pleasers, and they are dangerous. Because they have the power of patriarchy, but then the being dishonest with themselves part of the people-pleasing codependency stuff. And, I'm not saying, my people-pleasing or my codependency was dangerous for me, and it was dangerous for others when I was in that relationship with that violent man. But this, stop. You weren't trying to please us. You wanted our approval. You wanted us to like you. You didn't want anyone to be mad at you. You didn't want to be embarrassed. And you didn't want to upset your daughters. Well, guess what? You don't think you're humiliating them now with this book and everything? You keep hiding behind the daughters. But okay, because of your childhood of people pleasing, we're supposed to give it a pass because you're just trying to please everybody by lying to yourself and lying to Teresa. It was too strong to release its destructive grip. Again, very relatable, but that is still not an excuse. Own what you did, bro. I wouldn't blame anyone who accused me of being a phony when I exchanged the vows with Teresa, but I can say that despite my fear that we weren't ready for marriage, I still committed the sacred institution of the heart. Blah, I hate that line. He admitted that he felt no happiness while proposing, and questioned if she won by default after he ended. What? Oh my God. Nis said that on Tuesday, if Turner really wanted to be with Leslie, she would have applauded and supported him. Now, I'm not sure if that's true. In the moment, she probably would have been disappointed. But you know what? She would have gotten over losing. And most women hopefully would not sign up for this mess. I hope that you who are listening have been deconstructing this enough to realize, and hopefully not through terrible experience, that being with a man who doesn't love you is so much painful than being with no man at all. I would never choose being with a man who doesn't love me or who kind of hates me. I would never choose that over being alone forever. God. And I think, in all honesty, most people would prefer to be loved. Here we go. Here is the thing about the sleep. We slept together the first night. Boom. There you go, Gary. I guess you lied. Noting that Turner offered to sleep on the couch the next night when she told him she didn't sleep well. I didn't ask him to sleep on the couch. Well, guess what? You know what, Gary? You can be a little passive-aggressive, people-pleasing dude. Well, she can do it right back to you. She probably was doing what a lot of women do, is that if we don't want to hurt men's feelings, we will hint at something like, wow, I slept really bad last night. Maybe she was going to like self-sacrifice anyway or self-abandon to let him sleep in the bed. But, she told him she slept bad. Now, I know that impacts me when I sleep bad. But if I was her age and slept bad, I don't know. I just don't think when the older you get, the more you can't afford to have terrible nights of sleep. She also claimed that she immediately ordered Whoa, see, you're doing too much. See, what? God, Gary ordered a king-size mattress to make sleeping together more comfortable. See, she's got money. Dang, she just ordered a king-size mattress. But Turner never came back to her home after his first visit. Sounds like she's actually pretty freaking accommodating. More than she probably should be. For what, bro? God. She's actually had no intention of airing out the details of her and his relationship before he released his memoir. It was really a matter of, if you have nothing good to say, you don't say anything. She's like, I'm not going to talk because I got nothing good to say. I didn't want to hurt him. And she said, adding that she also didn't want to upset his daughters and grandchildren because she's trying to be more thoughtful. Unlike he doesn't care what this does, all this whole book does to her or her family. But now, he's written a book and he said things, and now I can't ignore it. Now, I was going to go over this to remind you all how much this man sucks, but I think this is like an hour long already, and I've already covered this particular article. It is so telling. It is so telling, and actually it was such a great example of what men do. I just didn't know that men his age would be, oh, look at you, would be this ridiculous. If you want to see this video, it's in the playlist, I think on the dating show playlist. But I can link it in the comments if you made it this far, which most of you probably did not. I can link that video so you can see me go over this article if you want. Or if you really want me to go over this again, I can. But I think it's kind of that ship has sailed. Anyway, this is such a good example of all the shit that men do and to lie about who they are. It's a masterclass in learning of how much they lie. And especially about their jobs and all this other stuff. And even about grieving and all the stuff that I talk about. Oh, look, y'all, I can see look at this. This is, for Christmas, I'm going to ask for a real mic, y'all. I'm so tired of if you could see this ADHD mess of a environment that I make these videos, you would understand why I almost burn out all the time. So unorganized. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. Please follow my Patreon if you really like my work. That's what allows me to take time off to do things like celebrate my birthday and see my family and all that stuff. And I have a lot of special content over there. So thank you, Patreon people, for keeping me afloat when I need break. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you hit the notifications and you're subscribed and all that stuff. And thanks for this long-ass video. Et voila! Hey, ladies, I'm the Golden Bachelor. I wrote a book about my bitch ass ex-wife. Hey now, you're a golden hobo. Hey now, I'm a restaurateur. No, you're not. You owned a burger joint. That's right. The dog knows this is a hobo. Hey now, I'm a nice guy. Golden Bachelor. I got cancer. Yeah, you want a hospice wife? No, I'm the Golden Bachelor. Take my gold rose. I took that rose and you trash. You tried to make me sleep at the bed with your old ass. Yeah, he takes up the whole bed. He's a psycho. Trust the dog a psycho. Hey, I tried to buy a king bed and then you bitched I wouldn't pork you. Hey, now I'm the nice guy, a widower. Boo-hoo. I miss my wife. Let's have a milkshake. Ah! Hey, that milkshake sucked. So did that kiss on the ride. I had money. Yeah, I heard. That's when I liked you. I didn't realize you're a hobosexual. Oh, girl, I remember the moment you told me you had money. Yeah, I should have known that was a red flag. Watch out for the hobo. I'm not a hobo. I cry all the time. I know, that's a problem. You're a crying ass bitch. Cry, cry, cry. I miss my wife so much. Actually, you dated a girl named Carolyn before you came on the golden. No, that's a lie. I love my wife. I love my wife. I was always not trusting you. I love my wife. I cry, 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 cry. That's a problem. You cry too much because you're a punk ass bitch. Go then, homosexual.